I have wanted to react to this video for months. It has been in my playlist for reactions for a long time. Now today we're going to watch it. This is a video made by Synthetic Man, sorry. Syndicate Man, that's a cool name. Anyways, this was made by Synthetic Man, which is a channel I used to watch back in the day. I agree with most of his video game takes, although some are a little weird. But anyways, we're going to watch this video he made reacting to the relatively new Suicide Squad. It's named The Suicide Squad is Worse Than You Think. So we're going to watch it right now.
So if you've seen my channel before, you might be wondering, why am I reviewing this movie? Especially since, while I have reviewed TV shows and movies before, this has nothing to do with video games. It doesn't really have any cultural significance either, other than being yet another cape film. Well, yeah, I mean, that's exactly the reason, to be honest, though. I'm kind of sick of doing game reviews at the moment. And I'm definitely going to admit, I am not a film analysis type of guy. I am just basically an average moviegoer who's sick of really movies, despite the fact that I see plenty of them. I've probably seen more bad movies.
Because he's more of a video game guy than actually being a movie guy. So yeah, I understand what he means by that. He's not as apt in speaking about movies, unlike many reaction channels and many movie channels like, like History Buff or movies like that, where they actually delve into the actual story of the movie and actually review the entire thing. And what's that guy with the leather jacket with the red background? He's been making reaction channels for a very long time. Anyways, others include CinemaSins, but this guy, CinemaSins sucks, but this guy is pretty good at judging video games, but not that apt in judging movies.
In the last several months than even just okay movies, and I don't think I've seen a good movie all year, except maybe Godzilla vs. Kong, but that's not really a good movie. I was just entertained. So I decided, why not? If the movie is terrible, maybe it'll be funny to talk about it. And boy, was I not disappointed, man. This movie is a fucking acid trip, dude. I don't know what James Gunn was high on when he was directing this, but he's lost his mind. Because I'm assuming the entire reason he was hired by Warner Brothers is like, oh, you should just do what you did with Guardians of the Galaxy, but do it with the suit.
What's wrong with that? Imitating something he used in another studio, another universe and of itself, and imitating that same thing that he created and putting it in the DC world with brand new characters, brand new dynamics. What's wrong with that? That's literally, what's wrong with that? You could argue any movie imitates other movies. Any movie can imitate other movies. I can watch something like The Goodfellas and see The Godfather, and I can say some of those things are similar. I can watch The Irishman and Goodfellas. Shit, I could argue that's the same movie. See what I'm saying? So similar. A lot of things are similar about it. I'm not trying to disrespect the works of those works, but I'm just trying to say that some things are similar in two different universes. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not, for example, in the early 2000s, I think, or the late 90s, they remade the movie Psycho with Vince Vaughn as the leading character. Now, that movie was a shot-for-shot remake of the old Psycho, which is a classic and one of the most respected movies of all time. Now, when they did that, they pissed off a lot of people, and it wasn't a good idea in of itself. Now, when we consider a shot-for-shot remake, it's different, because why would you do that? You don't need to do that. Some movies, like, for example, Psycho, for example, 12 Angry Men, don't need to be redirected. It's perfect the way it is. Seven Samurais, these are movies that are perfect the way they are. You don't need to remake them for a brand new audience. Anybody with class and a little bit of movie knowledge will go and watch those movies because it makes sense. You don't copy perfection. But some things you can take from one work and put it into other works, and you can make it amazing. I would argue that even though The Good, the Bad, and the the Dollar Trilogy itself is an imitation of the works of Akira Kurosawa's Seventh Samurai. It was still an amazing project. It's still an amazing movie. It takes away nothing. I've seen both of those movies multiple times, and I can say it takes away nothing from it. They're both amazing, amazing works. Sergio Leone made an amazing movie with an amazing soundtrack. It was perfect, and Seven Samurai was perfect as well. But when considering movies like these, you can take from one movie and add it to the next. It doesn't take away from the original work. So imitating Guardians of the Galaxy a little bit, which is directed by the same director that directed The Suicide Squad, the 2021 version, there's nothing wrong with that. That's his right. And he did an amazing job because I've seen that movie multiple times and I was still having fun. And I gotta say it's a fresh take on the DCEU, or at least the DCU now. So that Superman, the upcoming Supergirl, I think it's gonna be an amazing universe. I hope Warner Bros. Being traded a week ago, I think, doesn't mess up a lot of these projects. And I hope James Gunn continues his work because he's an amazing director. I really love his work.
Suicide Squad. And then people might actually like the Suicide Squad. Yeah, well, I guess he just said F that, because this movie has basically nothing redeemable about it, except maybe John Cena.
I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I need to kill to get it.
His character was actually pretty funny, but everything else is either bland and forgettable or ridiculously over the top. And to say this film jumped the shark is an understatement. If you had...
Well, this is not Superman. This is not Batman. You can go over the top with this. This is a movie about people with superpowers. Even Superman, you can actually go. You can go to other galaxies. You can go to universes. You can do all this cosmic, esoteric shit, and you can still get away with it. When we're talking about movies like these versus movies like, for example, Batman, although the comics have Batman fighting these gigantic monsters, and we are led to believe that Batman is just a human being. It's nonsense, truly speaking, it's nonsense. But when considering people with superpowers like this, you can go do whatever you want with it. Time travel, whatever, multiverse. I hate multiverse, but multiverse and shit, man. I might not be able to see it because it irritates the shit out of me because I don't like multiverses at all. But when movies like these, you can go all the way. You can be as silly as you want. Just make sure that when you build the world, you build rules for that world. Make sure that the story progresses in a way that does not go outside those bounds, because it would be insulting to the audience that once you've established a rule, you break it. So we don't know what's going to happen, you know? So as the writer, as the director, just like a dungeon master controls the game and leads the people around the table, the characters, that is, the writer has to be able to establish the rules of the universe and has to make sure that the characters and the main actors of the movie, of the story, actually follow up and don't go outside the bounds. So having this starfish shit, I've seen the old Justice League movies. I kind of remember what this is, but having crazy action scenes where John Cena shoots up an entire Cuban regiment or rebel force, is not that outside the bounds, I would say. Plus, it's a comedic movie. It's not serious. This is not The Dark Knight.
Any suspense of disbelief in the first 30 minutes, it will be completely shattered by the end. And so I don't even have to go into spoilers to just tell you the movie was terrible, but I was vaguely entertained by how bad it was. I wish it was funny bad, but really it's not. It's more just obnoxiously bad. So if you're going...
Even the 2016th version of Suicide Squad wasn't boring. It looked shit. There were some amazing parts, especially with Will Smith. But there are some cool parts in it. I would definitely not rewatch it, but still, there are some good scenes in it. it's bland. It's okay. It's like it's one of those movies you open while making out with a girl. You know what I'm saying? Those types of movies. You know, you don't actually want to pay attention to it too much. But the 2021 version, the Suicide Squad, was pretty good. It's pretty amazing, actually. Did a great job.
Going into this looking for a film about villains doing evil shit, or maybe some bad guys who get redeemed and have some character development, or maybe you're just kind of looking for a good time, just some fun action, like okay writing. Yeah, no, you're not going to get any of that here. You're going to get an extremely style over substance film. There is nothing of value here.
To be honest, this scene right here wasn't my favorite because it makes zero sense. A girl that size fighting all those men with those guns that she's never been trained with. It just made little sense to me, but I guess it's a comedic type of movie, so whatever. But yeah, whatever.
Nothing to learn here. There's nothing to gain here. There's nothing of value here. There's nothing to learn here. There's nothing to gain here. And the only thing that's really entertaining are some of the jokes and just the over-the-top visuals. Nothing else of redeeming value. So without further ado, let's just get into the spoiler section because, well, yeah, you're in for a ride. So
I think my man was expecting Citizen Kane or something. This is a superhero movie. Its source is literally paper thin pieces of comics. This is an omnibus, but comics that have that have drawings inside it, paintings inside it. Beautiful paintings, by the way, but beautiful artwork. And its source is books that were created for boys. Yeah, for girls, some of them for girls, but mainly for boys. Back in the day, to sell different stories, different ideas that wouldn't be able to be made in movies. Imagine that. Even today, comics can tell stories which movies cannot. It would be too over the budget. Like, there are movies from back in the... There was this movie about from back in the 70s where all the artists came together and worked on the artwork, and it's beautiful. It's public, and it's beautiful art. But they were never able to make the actual movie, not because of just the budget, but because half the budget disappeared. I don't know, allegedly. But they weren't able to make it because movies, as amazing as they are, cannot tell some of the stories that comics can. So it's a way of telling stories to young teens, and now 20s and 30s too, but young teens, different stories that movies cannot. That's what it tells. So taking that concept and actually taking that concept and thinking about it, you can imagine that these stories are not going to be the most amazing stories. You can have amazing stories. If you've read, for example, All-Star Superman or something, there are amazing comic stories, but you should expect something like Citizen Kane, Psycho, or something amazing like that. You should expect a cool movie. For example, this one is a comedic type of movie, so not only would you expect something bit up above average, but you'd expect something funny, something enjoyable, so a spectacle. Just as he said about King Kong, with a little more substance to it. But you would expect something amazing from a superhero movie. Although there are great superhero movies, especially in the Marvel universe. But don't push it. You go in there with this high as fuck standard that wasn't even pre-established. Because movies that came before this movie were shit. Absolute shit. So why would you expect to go into theaters with this mindset of elevated expectation and go in there and watch this movie and expect it to be amazing, perfect? No, this is one of the few movies. Even the Marvel universe, you have to wait. For example, it started, I think, a little bit with Hulk, the Incredible Hulk. Pretty much the start of the Marvel Universe, but the Iron Man was really the marker, the landmark you can point to and say, that's where it started. That was amazing. Iron Man 2 and 3 are garbage. Garbage. Absolute garbage. Captain America 1 was Okay? 2 and 3 were amazing. 2 specifically was amazing. Even in the Marvel Universe, it was because we were being led to this ultimate ending where they fight Thanos that we consider it an amazing franchise of movies. Because there were shit all over the place. There were a lot of awful movies in the Marvel Universe. Out of the 27, I would say like at least half of it was shit. But we tolerate that because it was all leading us to Endgame. So what I'm trying to say here is you shouldn't expect every movie to be a 10 out of 10, especially in a franchise. Now, as we know now, this movie is not the end of the story of these characters. They continue throughout the series. Other series is being made. It connects to, for example, in the Superman movie when he was being, when Superman was a fugitive and was being looked for. He arrived at his apartment. When the camera pans and looked at the TV, which had on this guy on it. John Cena was talking about how Superman was a maniac or something. I don't remember perfectly, but he was in that universe. So it's all a connecting story. So this being the first movie, it was great for what it was. It was enjoyable. I was not bored a single second.
Oh, the movie begins with a pointless scene. You're in for a ride. So, the movie begins with a pointless scene where they give you a fake Suicide Squad, which if you've seen any of the trailers, you could guess what exactly
Misdirection is not really a bad thing.
is going to happen to these people, and I'm sure you guessed in the first minute, oh, all these people are going to die except Harley Quinn. Technically, that's not true. Rick Flag, the commander dude or whatever, he survives, but yes, everyone else fucking dies, and it's pointless. That first 10 minutes only exists for celebrity cameos. I don't even understand why, especially Pete Davidson. Like, they set him up as the guy who sold out the crew, and then he just gets shot in the face immediately. He doesn't even say anything funny while he's on screen, despite being a comedian. The guy who plays Yondu dies, the Javelin guy dies, the Weasel dies, they all die. That being said, I do find it...
Did you watch the after credit? The Weasel doesn't die. The Weasel is alive. He survived.
kind of funny on a meta level that they brought back Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang just to kill him. Still wasn't really worth this intro scene, though. The only thing of significance that happens here is Harley gets the Javelin's javelin, which comes up later. And so then, we basically get into a scene that is just like the first movie. We get introduced to Bloodsport. They honestly just should have went with Deadshot again. Do you think anybody cares that Deadshot's played by Idris Elba instead of Will Smith? No. But no, instead they just got a copy-paste character who does exist in the comics.
Who cares? Who cares? This is the writer's idea. This is the writer's perspective. He has every right this guy instead of Deadshot.
But it's hilarious that he's basically just Deadshot again. Then we're introduced to the rest of the team. We have Ratcatcher 2, a young woman who uses a magical science device to summon rats. Note that this device has no limitations in its rat ability. It doesn't even seem to have a range, except maybe reasonably where rats could come to you within like...
I would argue this is South America. I'm not going to even go into that. So there are a lot of rats out there. Yeah, blame the Mayflower. Eh? They brought it.
as they seem to be able to perform complex commands and not just her personal pet rat. Then we have King Shark, who's basically a big shark guy. I find it funny that he's known as a Flash villain, considering he has absolutely no powers that would be a threat to the Flash. But yeah, he's a shark man. And yeah, I was pretty disappointed with this character. I thought this would be the comedic character. No, he's an idiot. And he just says dumb things. But not even funny dumb things.
No, he was pretty funny in the movie. He was very funny in the movie. What are you talking about?
He can just barely talk, and that's it. And he wants to eat people. And I guess it's supposed to be funny that he eats humans, but it's really not. Then we have the funniest character in the film, Peacekeeper, played by John Cena. Yeah, I'll give the movie some credit here. His dialogue...
Please, 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 Hollywood, please make another Dredd movie with either Kurt as the lead, or at least give us some exaggerated version of Judge Dredd. He's right there in the back. Judge Dredd, played by John Cena. That would be awesome.
dialogue is actually pretty funny.
I mean, he has the range, he has the body, the physicality, the jawline. I think he could play it.
He's basically the rival to Bloodsport. He seems to have very similar mercenary-like killing abilities and a bit of super strength, but not too much, maybe Captain America level. And finally, we have the Polka Dot Man, who is, I guess, the joke character, but doesn't really even count as a joke character if half these people are fucking jokes. But yeah, he shoots polka dots that melt things, and yeah, that's what he does, and it's surprising.
His and his mom's gag is one of my favorite gags. I loved it in the movie because him seeing his mom everywhere was hilarious. Especially the club scene where he was dancing with the girl and it turned into his mom. It was just weird.
Surprisingly efficient. And his only character trait is that he has mommy issues. So, long story short, the motivation for our main character is that his daughter got caught committing a crime, and so Amanda Waller, who actually plays her part even better in this film than the first one. So again, I give the film credit for that. She threatens to send his daughter directly.
When you bring an Oscar-level actress into a superhero movie, she's overqualified. Of course she's going to do a great job in it. Come on. This girl can win a lot of... This woman, I'm sorry. She's way older than me, so this woman can win a lot of Oscars. Like, she's that talented. The Oscar might not be perfect, the perfect way to actually show what actor is amazing or who is not. For example, Denzel, I don't think has an Oscar. I think he has one. I think. But what I'm trying to say is, compared to the number of amazing movies he's made little Oscars. He's been nominated a bunch of times, I think. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, this is an Oscar-level actress. When you bring her into a superhero movie, she's gonna outdo everybody, and she did. She's an amazing, amazing actress.
To this prison if he doesn't do the job. And so there you go, that's all it takes to motivate him. So, as Team A was getting violently killed, Team B was sent to a different part of the island, which is essentially Cuba, in all but name. And they have to infiltrate this secret government facility thing. Really doesn't matter, they have to destroy all the evidence.
I swear to God, I didn't see this video before this, but I was thinking the same thing. It looked exactly like Cuba.
Blah, 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 right? Which at least sounds like something capable of their abilities until the end of the movie where they just throw that out the window. Versus the first movie where, you know, it ends in a giant sky beam and Power Rangers fight shit. Well, get ready to be disappointed if you were expecting the movie to stay on a realistic mercenary-esque scale. So yeah, this is kind of the part of the movie where it sort of meanders about for roughly an hour. You do get the funniest joke in the whole movie where John Cena basically says he would suck an entire beach worth of dicks to save liberty in America and shit. I'm not gonna lie, I actually laugh pretty hard at that. King Shark wants to eat the team, but they befriend him, so he won't eat the team. Then they go have basically a scene ripped directly from Predator, where they kill a whole bunch of people in some jungle village thing. And it turns out those were the rebels that they were supposed to be assisting. And they find Rick Flag, and despite literally slaughtering all their people, the rebel leader woman agrees to help anyway. Meanwhile, Harley Quinn, instead of being executed with the rest of her team, gets captured by the bad guys. This is what I was hoping was the worst part of the movie. Unfortunately, it gets worse. The dictator leader wants to marry Harley Quinn. Why? Because she represents an anti-America hero fighting against American values or something.
So what? So what? What's wrong with that?
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
Okay, and I'm embarrassed to say this, right? But I watched the Birds of Prey movie. Yes, you can blame my dad. I've watched probably 80% of these cape shit films with my dad that I didn't even want to watch for the most part. And so I watched that fucking terrible movie, and not once does it come up that Harley Quinn is anti-America in any way. She's literally just what every millennial woman thinks she is. Some quirky, insane chick, minus the...
I mean, she's a criminal, so obviously she's anti-something, man. She commits a lot of crimes. I mean, she's a criminal can be assumed to be anti-government in a sense that they go against the government. So in this world, he considers her to be anti-American because she goes against that. So basically, she goes against the government. It kind of makes sense a little bit. It doesn't really matter, but it kind of makes sense in a way.
murder. So whatever, this is fucking stupid shit. I'm gonna assume James Gunn wrote this in himself. And I guess this is just the scene where they need to pander to the female members of the audience, like all 5 of them. Because the dictator is like this Hispanic...
That part I actually agree with, because most of these movies were made, specifically the bigger audience is men. So young men, between like early teens to like mid-30s. Like, that's where superhero movies, comics, and even video games for the most part lie. So they should maybe cater to that side instead of trying to create a brand new audience, which they won't. There are more females, I would argue, today that play Call of Duty than back in the 2000s. But still, is it really worth losing your male audience though? Are you serious about that? Are you sure about that?
Punk dude. I don't want to describe this in detail. The scene plays like a 50 Shades of Grey femcel fantasy. But there's an awkward romance thing. She sleeps with him. She implies he has a giant dick. They clearly know their audience. And then Harley Quinn just shoots him in the back. Yeah, the guy who's built up as the bad guy is just killed immediately after she sleeps with him. So then, like, the second-in-command general guy, he's the new dictator. And honestly, it doesn't matter. It makes absolutely no difference to the film whatsoever. They just needed to give scenes to Harley Quinn because I guess she's the only popular character left here. But who the hell even cares about Harley Quinn anymore? The Birds of Prey movie bombed. I don't know. I can't help but picture that James Gunn is like jerking off during these scenes. Does anyone else feel that way? Especially after his controversy with his 10-year-old tweets, which I can't go into detail about, but let's just say by the end of this movie, I started to believe him being a diddler of the young variety.
You have a single fact to back that up?
Allegedly. Allegedly, he might have done some things. Allegedly. Please don't kill me, YouTube. So the good guys have to meet up.
Being allegedly called something like that is actually pretty much close to being called that thing. Legally, it protects you, but morally, it's just wrong. Unless somebody's convicted of something, I'm not going to say, like, this person did this, because I just try to avoid that kind of shit, because people talk. A lot of these conspiracies are nonsense, but over the past 2 years, as we've seen, a lot of them are. Few of them are, at least. So, I don't want to completely throw them out, but saying something allegedly, you allegedly murdered your wife, is saying that to somebody like O.J. Simpson or something, that would piss him off. See what I'm saying? It's just wrong to say shit like that. Especially if they weren't convicted.
With this evil scientist guy who has all these things sticking out of his head.
Sorry, only if they weren't convicted. If they aren't convicted, you shouldn't say that at all. If they are convicted, you should say that. you should say that to infinity. Like, you should scream that shit from the towers.
And the whole weird electrode thing in his head, yeah, it never plays into the movie at all. I guess it's just supposed to signify that he's super smart, but it doesn't come across in the movie at all. He just looks ridiculous. Especially when they have
He does look stupid.
this bar scene where it just looks like some, I don't know, shitty third world country bar. And they get drunk and they find the guy and they slip him out the back as like some soldiers show up. And the soldiers actually capture our 3 main characters. And so you're like, oh shit, there might actually be some drama happening I can be invested in. Nope. In the armored car that they're in, they literally just kill all 3 dudes in one hit. They literally make a joke before they do it where it's like, hey, have you ever heard you can kill someone in one punch? And then they do it. All 3 of them do it simultaneously at the same time. Then they take out the driver. The car flips like 10 fucking times and they get out completely fine. And guess who's waiting for them? The rest of our heroes. Now, you might know if you've seen the movie that I skipped the scenes with Ratcatcher and Polka Dot Man skipping their backstories. Yeah, because it doesn't matter. It adds nothing to the movie whatsoever. Except that Polka Dot Man...
It adds personality to the story. You could argue that any backstory does not add anything, but that's not true. It communicates to the audience these are real people with real problems. She lost her dad, which is something a lot of people can relate with. Men, women, it doesn't even matter by the demographic you're talking about. That's something that you can build the character. That's something you can relate to. So yes, it does matter.
Has like an Oedipus complex or something, because he's literally seeing his mother everywhere, and it's fucking weird. So this is basically where the movie sinks into utter and complete shit with no redeeming value. Once again, I skipped a scene earlier where they built up that American astronauts found a starfish alien thing. Now, if you see this scene, you probably know exactly where the movie's going from here, but it's even worse than that. That's the thing. Like, you think, oh, okay, so there's a starfish guy, and he takes over people's minds, and the ultra comic nerds in the audience know that Starro the Conqueror is a real character. Yeah, he's still a shit character, I don't care. Comics used to be really stupid. Doesn't mean that those stupid characters should be in our movies. Oh, and how could I forget another of the worst scenes in the movie where they go to rescue Harley Quinn. Why do they rescue Harley Quinn? Who the fuck knows? She doesn't have powers. She doesn't matter. Amanda Waller could have...
They know her. Some of them do. What are you talking about? Like, dude, she doesn't matter. What are you talking about? Of course she matters. She's part of the squad. At least not this squad, but still, she's part of the squad. They wanted to rescue her because some of them know her.
just detonated her fucking head at any time. But no, she's too popular. You just can't kill her. And even though it would risk the entire mission, yeah, let's go save her. But no, the movie subverts your expectations, and Harley Quinn gets out by herself. But that's the simple explanation. It's actually so much worse than that, guys. It is so much worse than that. So she breaks out, she kills fucking everyone, she even dual wields assault rifles, and as
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
she's running down this hallway screaming, there's like 5 or 6 guards who look at her and then just run away. Come on, movie. Really? You're not going to take anything that's happening even slightly seriously anymore? Then why should I care about what's happening? Why should I still watch this movie at this point? But again, it gets worse. It gets worse. I promise you it
That's
gets
amazing.
worse. And so yeah, the good guys are preparing to break her out. They have this advanced plan and she's just waiting there outside. So yeah, whatever. It's fucking pointless. It's all pointless. Complete waste of time. Every Harley Quinn scene in this movie serves nothing to the overall plot. So moving on, they finally make it to this Jotunheim base, and it turns out it's an old...
Harley Quinn herself doesn't add too much to the story, but still, they make us care about her character. So I guess it's an emotional beat, I suppose. But he's right in the fact that she doesn't do a lot in the movie. Not really as much as Idris Elba or Captain Flag. She doesn't do as much as them. John Cena was amazing as Peacemaker, by the way.
old like Nazi scientist base, which actually seems like a fake out in the movie because it has nothing to do with the cause of this plot. Because it turns out that the United States government captured the Starro alien and put him on this random Cuban island. And I don't know, just let the dictators take over, even though there's an extremely dangerous, world-threatening, giant starfish monster with mind-controlling babies. Yeah, let's just leave it to this random third-world country with asshole dictators who hate America. I mean, maybe I missed some plot point because I wasn't paying attention, like the old ruling family was allies with the US or something. It's still stupid, no matter how you slice it. These fucking idiots.
They were allies to them. Plus, it might be against many laws, so they can't keep it in their land. So, superpower like that keeps it in other people's land. They take the risk for it, and the poor country, basically Cuba, is paid many multiple billions to keep that weapon there. Maybe they wanted to use it against some superpowered maniac. Maybe if Superman got it out of line or something. Doesn't really matter, but to the story, they were property of the old regime, but once the family was brutally murdered, the weapon was still kept here, under new management, under the militia. So yeah, that's a plot point, but that's not really, doesn't actually, break any rules. It doesn't actually mean anything. It's not a bad thing. It's just part of the story. He's naming story beats. He's pointing out story beats and trying to make them plot holes, which doesn't make any sense at all.
It's again, I bet James Gunn thinks this shit is funny because he was high as fuck. But they have this shitty ass colorful van that they drive up to this secret military base in this intimidating huge tower. And the guards just fucking let them in.
Best scene in the movie. I loved it.
Come on, man, come on. But then it just suddenly starts raining super hard and the heroes just fucking shoot everybody.
The Pixies were a perfect band to pick, and Hey is an amazing song. I actually learned this song from this movie. Sorry to say, I know a couple of Pixie songs, but I never heard of Hey, sadly, before this, but I am so glad I listened to that song, and it was a perfect song for this scene. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And the visual direction of it, like them walking out of it's just perfect. Them in white, with the white background, the minivan blurred out a little bit, them walking toward the camera. Beautiful. And unique, too.
And nobody knows what's going on. They hack into the front gate, they get in, the bus driver dude that they held up at gunpoint and took with them is still sticking with them at this point and went into the base, which is literally just a setup for a joke that happens shortly after the scene. They shut the front doors, which are like these huge concrete steel doors, whatever, you know, you can't bust through them. And guess what the retard military thinks to do? Let's run a fucking Humvee with a small ram on it. That'll open the door. That's the best thing you could think of, because no, there's no way this is what they thought of. This is what you thought of. What, they have no explosives, they have no tanks, they don't have, like, I don't know, a bigger truck? They could ram into the doors at least if they don't have any kind of explosive or rockets or anything. They fucking ram it with a car over and over again. This movie's driving me nuts, guys. You have to understand, like, my brain was fried and I had trouble paying attention at this point. Because I knew what was coming next. And you all knew at this point. But could you have guessed it was as dumb as it was? Again, let's just condense this as much as possible because I'm sure this video's too long already. So the whole point of the mission was actually a cover-up because, again, like I said earlier, the American government was the one that was experimenting on all these people with the mind control starfish guy. And so Rick Flag, despite being like the leader of the group and from what little I remember of the first movie, I thought was established to be essentially working for Waller. But no, he suddenly decides this is too far. And Peacekeeper, the bro that he is like, fuck you. I'm going to do the mission I was sent here to do, and I was sent here by Waller to keep an...
That's the difference. Some of the soldiers in this, like Idris Elba and Captain Flag, those are soldiers in a sense that they don't go against their own, for example, they don't go against their own morals to accomplish a mission. That's what makes Peacekeeper such an amazing but scary character, that he will do anything. Absolutely anything for his country, even commit atrocities, if he has to. So that's what it is. Like, he would rather this Cuban city be sacked by that creature from space than fail the mission, basically. So that's what's crazy about Peacekeeper. He will do anything for the mission.
eye on you. And so him and John Cena start...
He's the perfect soldier.
Fighting, and then the whole building collapses. Meanwhile, it cuts to what the rest of the heroes were doing, which is setting explosives on the building. King Shark wanders into, like, the top floor of the building, and for some reason there's a huge aquarium, and there's these weird octopus monsters, I guess, and he thinks they're his friends. Meanwhile, the evil army gets into the building, they start shooting the place up, the bus driver guy gets killed, and then one of Bloodsport's bullets accidentally hits the C4 and blows the building up. And this results in the aquarium spilling out, and so the little octopus dudes have like lamprey teeth, and so they start biting all over King Shark like piranhas, and it's actually affecting him, it's making him bleed, keep this in mind. And so he falls out the building, falls like 5 floors or some shit, hits the ground, the military starts shooting him, and the bullets do nothing. So you might think, this is a small detail, why are you focusing on this, why does it matter? Well, I don't know, to be honest. Maybe I was just fucking fed up with this movie. But the fact that these...
I mean, it's not a fucking missile they hit him with, it's a bullet. He's a shark with thick skin. So yeah, it's pretty much hitting him. He was still hurting, as we can see from the scene. His face was still being. He looked constipated in a way. I mean, he was like, oh, he was frowning and stuff, but still, it hurt him, but it didn't pierce through, just like a bulletproof vest, at least. So I would argue that his skin is tougher than 10 bulletproof vests combined, like the thickness of it.
Random ass, colorful, I guess, alien lamprey jellyfish guys can puncture his skin, but bullets can't? Are they super strong? Or is the movie just once again implying, like the rest of the movie does pretty much, that if a bad guy wields a gun, it does nothing? It's firing blanks. It's whatever. So King Shark gets up and starts like chomping on all these dudes. Again, not a single bad guy has anything other than an assault rifle. No rockets, no tanks, no helicopters, no planes, no nothing. So we catch up with the other scene where apparently, just because fate willed it, Bloodsport falls down like 5 floors exactly across the room from where John Cena was about to shoot Ratcatcher 2 in the face. Oh yeah, and Rick Flagg's dead, by the way. John Cena won the fight. And then, in the most anticlimactic confrontation possible, they both shoot a bullet, and Bloodsport's bullet is smaller, so it goes through Peacekeeper's bullet and sinks through.
It was foreshadowed from the earlier movie. Like, he does it better, he said. He was bragging to Edward Elba that he was the best shooter. And one of the things he argued, I think in the middle of the movie, was that his bullets were small, so they can pierce through anything. I don't know, that kind of argument. But he didn't know that Edward Elba actually had even smaller bullets that could pierce through his bullets. It doesn't make perfect sense, but it was foreshadowed in the beginning, and considering it's a superhero movie, the rules of the universe are established within this story, not the universe we live in. So basically, I don't mind at all. It was a cool scene. I'm sad the Peacemaker died that way. Have I been calling him Peacekeeper? I mean Peacemaker. I mean, Peacemaker died that way, but, you know, whatever.
Directly into his throat and kills him instantly. No big, like, climactic battle with, like, guns.
Oh, I don't think he's dead then. He shot him in the neck, so I think Peacekeeper, the series, would actually continue the story, I think.
Kung Fu or like John Wick style fighting or I don't know, anything entertaining whatsoever. No, it's over instantly in one shot. Because the building collapsed, Starro the Conqueror gets out, and yeah, it's literally a giant fucking starfish walking around a city like smashing buildings. Like, this is like a bad 50s sci-fi movie. What the fuck? What were they thinking, dude? I know
It's a comic book movie. So there's nothing silly about it. The entire concept is silly of superheroes. But we suspend our disbelief in order to enjoy a cool story with some cool action scenes in it. Wanting gun fu in a superhero movie is weird, man. Weird. John Wick had no gun fu action. It would suck because it would be just boring. It would be any generic action movie. But because it had that was its differentiating factor. It made it beautiful. It made it an amazing franchise. But having that in here is just unnecessary.
it's such a cliche statement to say in a YouTube video. What were they thinking? But seriously, what the fuck? Why? Don't watch the fucking movie is what I'm saying, okay? I don't think I need to say that directly. But yeah, so of course the good guys want to stop the giant starfish, but Amanda Waller says, no, your mission's over, go home. Why does she say this? Who the fuck knows? But then what happens is just, it's pandering idiocy, because it would be controversial and possibly racist if literally anyone else knocked out Waller. They have the one black woman, like, secretary knock out Waller, so it's a black woman knocking out a black woman. It's so blatant. Why? Why did you do this?
That's one thing about Syndicate Man. Synthetic Man that you have to notice is that he just watches out for this shit. This is on his top one. Like, this is like the criteria of a good entertainment media. Is his first criteria is race, color, creed, culture. That's what it is. Like anything, a cool black chick, a cool black guy, this guy did it, this guy did it. It doesn't make any sense to him. So he just rats on it. He just shits on it. That's what he does. But one thing I do agree with him on is having women fight in World War II, and it's just weird. It's just weird. They weren't in Vietnam. They were. There are women in Vietnam, but they weren't in combat in Vietnam. And even if they were, there were not enough of them to justify an entire video game, Call of Duty, having it on a woman on this poster and inside the game. It's just insulting to the many millions of men from Europe that died in the war. It's just insulting. So if you want to create new combat, modern combat shit in Iraq and whatever, even then, it's majority men. Still majority men. Every country has military majority men. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is, there's some truth in what he's saying, but not always. For example, here, it doesn't really matter because this is a separate universe. This wasn't built on history. It doesn't even matter who hit her. It's just that in her office, Amanda Waller was knocked out by one of the people because they have something she doesn't. It's called morality. Every race has it. Every creed has it. Every culture has it. Every religion does it. So why would you point that out? Synthetic Man is very obsessed with these types of demographic arguments, and that's something I don't like about his channel, which is why I distanced myself from his channel. So even if you go to my For You page, you probably won't see him ever. Like, it would be like very rare. I haven't seen him in months, even a year, I think. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is he watches out for these things. This is something I don't agree with him on. So basically, what I feel like is, if it's historical, or if it's set in the medieval world, or if it's set in a historical context, then you should respect what the sources say about it, or what history books say about it. But if you want to create an entire universe, you can do whatever you want with it, because nobody, absolutely nobody cares outside the comic books and the movies. If a black woman hit Amanda Waller in the head, it doesn't really matter to me. It's just one of her staff hit her, but that's what it is. That's all that matters.
This really? So none of their heads get detonated, and guess what? There are no consequences for her staff knocking her out, by the way. And so the good guys have to stop the giant monster. Polka Dot Man shoots some polka dots, but then gets crushed and dies instantly. And again, I think it's supposed to be funny, but it's not. And so the good guy's like, what the hell do we do? The bad guy has an army of zombies and is a giant starfish, and we don't have any big guns, I guess. Well, again, the movie's just fucking retarded and has absolutely no internal logic whatsoever, because Ratcatcher 2 just decides, oh, I'll use my staff and summon a million fucking rats. Starts attacking Starro. Meanwhile, Harley Quinn decides, oh, I'm gonna climb these random buildings, jump, and stab the thing in the eye with a javelin. Why does that work when bullets didn't penetrate its eye? Who the fuck knows? Whatever, who cares? Nobody cares. James Gunn doesn't care, so why should we care? I don't know. Why did anyone watch this movie? I don't know. So it stabs it in the eye, which gives the rats a chance to climb inside its eye and start eating the inside. And, you know, this is something I didn't mention, but this movie is very, very gory for no reason. It was distractingly gory to me. As desensitized as I am to fictional violence, it just seemed very try-hard to me. Either that or the result of another bad trip from our alleged diddler director here. Somehow during all this chaos, Bloodsport uploaded that secret drive to the internet or some secure server or something, and so is blackmailing Waller with that to not kill them all. And that's the end of the movie. Yeah, so the movie's shit. Complete and utter shit. I'm starting to think that James Gunn is another George Lucas, and the only reason that the first Guardians of the Galaxy was any good is because he was on a tight leash. And I'm guessing Warner Brothers just gave him free reign to do whatever the fuck he wanted to do, which is why this movie was such shit. Either that or he really just didn't care, and this is all a practical joke on Warner Brothers to sink them further into the abyss. Either way, I would not recommend this movie to pretty much anybody, except maybe some stoners. I don't know, you guys might like the pretty colors.
Nonsense.
So thanks for watching, do the things the algorithm likes. Check out my Patreon if you want to support me directly. And yeah, the Deus Ex review is almost done. Back to back, but just know that it might be done by the time this uploads. So don't worry. And yeah, that's it for now. Not entirely sure what I'm going to do with the rest. Sure.
Whatever. Anyways, I agree with him on some points, but a lot of his points are nonsense, really. Because the rules were established within the movie. He respected the movie, except for like the bullet shit. I need to rewatch the movie again to see that. Were they actually hitting him in the eyes? And he didn't. Nothing happened. And then when maybe the staff has some powers to it. Maybe it has a lot of weight to it. I don't know. We need to look at the comics. We need to look at the actual scene again and check. But besides that, most of what he says is wrong, basically. Her staff hitting her doesn't matter. Their backstories do matter because it creates an emotional connection between the characters and the viewer. So, always it matters. Backstory matters unless the character does not live throughout the movie or at least doesn't serve any purpose. Both Ratcatcher Lady, I don't know what it's called, and Bloodshot both have significance within the story. So basically, it does matter. That happening does matter. The background does matter. The rules of the universe were established. Harley Quinn's scenes and Sharkman, whatever it's called, scenes do matter because they add to the story a little bit. Maybe not to the overarching arc of the story, but it helps. So basically, I would recommend you watch The Suicide Squad, the 2021 version, even though the 2016 version has some good scenes in it. The music was amazing too. Anyways, 2021 version, directed by James Gunn, is amazing. I would recommend you watch it, and I would recommend that you check out other Synthetic Man's videos, because he has a lot of biases towards different demographics outside of the male white demographic. So I think those are a lot of factors in it. That's a big factor in it. So I think he has some good points, but most of it is shit. So basically, I would recommend you watch this movie. I would also recommend that you like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video. Like it right now.